This is Deb Helfrich, hashtag Redheaded She-Hulk. And you will love me when I'm angry. What do we do about the murderous, heinous, selfish, entitled comfort of white Americans? I keep putting my hand up. Horse shacking my ass off. Literally. To do my part. I have demonstrated anti-racism for decades. I have the receipts. My role is to be somebody operating on this cancer of the delusion of white superiority by demonstrating love for Black people, Asian people, Pacific Islanders, by saying, in my heart, my truth, my soul, I was born to become known as the white woman who says we're all Africans ancestrally. There's no me without Africa having my back in this lifetime. And I thought everyone understood the evolution has established way beyond reasonable doubt that humans all descended from African ancestors. So let me ask you a question. Aboriginal Australians, Indigenous, Native Americans, Mayans, Aztecs, Hawaiians, Native, Indigenous, what do those terms mean? How can that possibly be factually accurate? Because what that says is the people originated there. People didn't originate in the Americas, across the Pacific Islands. People originated on the continent of Africa. And then they migrated slowly with great intelligent civilizations that figured out how to go on rowabout. Aboriginal Australians, Africans who went on rowabout. Aztecs, Africans who went on rowabout. Hawaiians, Africans who went on rowabout. That land bridge, supposedly Russia to Alaska, does not. Do you know how fucking cold Canada is? How fucking long Canada is? How did humans do that? Or could they just have rode about? Think about it. Human migration, to the way that we look and what we know about skin color. The world was populated by Africans going on rowabout. People migrated up from South America, Central America, into lower Canadian zones. way before. I'm in Seattle, the Salish sea tribes. Fascinating. Fascinating. And I know so very little. Where do we get access to this information? And you can't know everything. As a philosopher, I'm very Sherlocking in deducing things from valid premises. This is what this skill is. So, I don't have time really to know everything about every civilization that's ever existed. What if I could, but I can't. So as somebody who's always been said and I never understood it, but a number of people said you're an old soul. Well, what that means is I'm very directly embodied in collaboration with our African ancestors. I got the skin to do this land bridge migration journey, to start thawing out the hate, to start reversing from all the craziness of the last 500 years of colonialization. Logically, with logic plus love intertwined. I do not know how to stop these violent, crazy, murderous assholes. But I do know how to show respect and love of Black people, of all people between equatorial hued humans and Arctic hued humans. I know how to talk to the people who are in charge, who are in power, who can literally go, no more will this ever happen. And here is the action plan. I need your help getting access to those people. And then I'll give them the life-centric logic and valid thinking. I will ask much better questions about why it hasn't already been solved. I will ask violent questions about why things remain the same when humans created this mess and humans must fix this mess. There's no evil in the world. We can't just go, well, this guy, and we can't just give a backstory to murder. Give a backstory to illness. Give a backstory to explaining what you said. But when you cross the line into behavior that harms another human, you must be held accountable. I don't know how to be brief about changing this faulty, fucked up civilization. I have failed at social media because attention spans have plummeted to 3 seconds, because everyone's lives have been turned into turmoil because of the pandemic, and I need help urgently. Financial help in the form of investing in hashtag NFT art. These sorts of videos, these sorts of dialogues can evolve the world. Now, it takes time, and it takes me having the resources to hire the right collaborators. This is my midlife metamorphosis. This is a new career, and I'm inventing an entire new industry. But trust me, Trust me. Trust me. I was raised by the Tiki Torch Whites, as Dave Chappelle calls our little zone of Ohio. You know, like in the quarter, southeast quarter. So I have no concept of where his John is. He might know where my John is just because it's pretty damn famous for being a place of quiet desperation, of lives of people who commit those sorts of crimes. I was raised within that mindset and never adopted it. Never judged another human because of the color of their skin. Was able to hold my love for darker skinned humans my whole life. Was able to show it out loud. Even though everything I was taught as a girl was contrary to that love. I trusted love. I'm willing to talk this out. 8, 10, 12 hours a day. I'm willing to go and go and go and go into that evil core of whiteness. As a philosopher, as a Socrates, asking why? You can't just tell people to stop being racist. That hasn't worked. We can't just keep making laws, having movements, losing lives, precious Black lives, precious Asian lives. Why is the US of hypocrisy, the land of the free, the most incarcerated nation on the planet? Why is the land of the free so violent? It's a land of opportunity, land of free market capitalism. The systems are not only systemically racist, they are systemically dehumanizing to everybody but the people at the pinnacle. And the people at the pinnacle, like, yeah, that's good. How you can be incapable of not seeing yourself as part of the human species? Because if you hate somebody like that, somebody else is going to hate you like that. That's what it does within your soul. When you have these faulty beliefs, like things don't add up, and you get cognitive dissonance, and then your brain goes out of whack, and you believe lies. You do things to distract yourself. That harm other humans. That's the delusion of white superiority. For me, whiteness is the term that encapsulates, words and tones. And you see the complexity. I want to get all of this in here. White supremacy is a crime, and there are many expressions of white supremacy. Must be criminalized and held accountable. Not incarcerated necessarily. There is restorative justice. What ends racism is not sticking somebody in a prison with other racists to fight racial battles. What disrupts racism is giving love a chance to flourish, is holding people responsible for dealing with the emotional ramifications of the people they've harmed, all the people they've harmed. This is a challenging process because the victims have to have had enough support to be able to adequately know what they need from the perpetrators. Restorative justice, though, is far better than incarceration. Sorry, it's far better than incarceration. See, ideals people, theories people, they're always subject to evolution. And the problem with systems, philosophically, is they don't change. You write down the process, and then you train everybody on the process, and then people do the process automatically. Efficiency experts, and they make it invisible, and nobody stops realizing the process doesn't work. Nobody starts realizing the process is actually creating problems. This is complex, please stay with me. People are so angry, and people who are not white are so scared for their own safety that we cannot go any longer with not facing this fully and accurately and philosophically, unpacking everything about systemic racism. Mr. Carter, ooh, ooh, ooh. Who else is going to volunteer? Who else is going to, time and time again, say, love will conquer hate? Y'all have tried it the other ways. To keep doing the same thing is insanity. Trying to combat the delusion of white superiority with the insanity of the whitewashed playbook. I have invested 10,000 hours thinking clearly as a very pale 52-year-old white American woman who loves the kernel of Africa in her heart, who's been to Africa, who's been the only white person by choice in countless situations in my life. I avoided the trap because I never fit into whiteness. My morbid obesity and my red hair and my tomboyness and my radical smartness and my refusal play the game of capitalism, the second it required me to harm a person. That's why I'm dead bankrupt. I opted out of that system because I couldn't survive. And I've analyzed why I couldn't survive, and I see how that guarantees no one really can survive. Except for those who numb themselves and don't stand up for the fact that we are one species. I'm just so sad for lost lives. I'm just so flummoxed. That my videos and my posts never create the ripples that would allow me to meet the collaborators who can fund my work, create a one-woman Socratic dialogue like Dave Chappelle, Sticks and Stones, to offer my own take from my own niche. My niche is world evolvers, Sticks and Stones audience. The people who have 75-minute, 90-minute attention spans to really think about things deeply. Now, outside of this mood of the fact that I fear for my own life because I'm dead bankrupt. I am days from being homeless, with which my health condition and my utter aloneness is a death sentence in days. I'm feeling like I'm being forced into having that kind of breakdown that makes you blame others for the way capitalism is inhumane. That's a story that needs to be shared with the people whose brains are fit enough to be able to start really changing how this civilization functions. Harmony, y'all.